What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another movie review. Today we are talking about Madam Web, and it's 2024 movie, and it's brand new, and a lot of people are talking about it online, and a lot of people are disliking it and hating on it, and some of it's unjust, some of it is. And today I'm not one to just shit on movies for no reason. I know it's really hard to make a movie in general and have it come out, but I can't help myself because it's Sony, right? Like, I'm not hating on the director or the actor, well, maybe Dakota Johnson a little bit, but I'm not hating on their choices. I think the studio that released this, Sony, knows this is a bad movie, right? Like, knows that shouldn't be doing this, right? Like, and they're just, they don't know what they're doing in the whole. And I will say, we went into this movie, me and my buddy Banad, and we watched it, and we were very, very prepared to walk out of this movie because of how bad people were saying it was. And I will say, we at least stuck around to see what happened to the girls, because we were at least interested enough in Celeste O'Connor, ISABEL and MERCED, and Sydney Sweeney, because they're all gorgeous women. But they're all playing like teenagers, and they all don't really look like teenagers. In Sydney Sweeney being the shy girl, I don't know, she's very outgoing and gorgeous. She should play more like the mean girl's popular girl in school, not the girl that's shy and, awkward, and she did her best job, but I just don't know if that's the right role for Sydney Sweeney, and I don't know if she's the best 15-year-old they can get nowadays. They probably could have got someone age appropriate that was actually ginger, and it would have been just fine. I was also confused why they called her Jessica Cornwall or Julia Cornwall instead of Julia Carpenter. I don't know what that's all about. Maybe that's something to do with the comics, but I don't think Sony knows that. You know what I mean? Like, if it was Marvel, it maybe would be like an intentional decision and it would be interesting, but the movie we really wanted was what this post-credit, or not the post-credit, because there is no post-credit scene. What the ending of the movie sets up is kind of what everyone wanted this movie to be, but instead they just gave us this steaming hot pile of ass. I don't know, and not like in a good way, but I will say I did at least like the relationship between the girls. The three girls, the young girls, I really liked. Dakota Johnson was definitely my least favorite part about this movie, and if she's the starring person, maybe it's just Dakota Johnson rubs me the wrong way, but I will say she wore the hell out of that red jacket, and her snippy attitude, no, you kids suck, you all suck. I could at least identify with that. I was like, okay, she's hating on these kids and it is what it is, but I don't know. I thought it was criminal how little we got to see of these women in their super suits. They were it was 45 seconds of the movie we got to see them suited up. We should have seen them more in these super suits, and I think the suits look badass, actually, and that's more of the movie I wanted to see, but instead we kind of got a bunch of nonsense, and I don't know, the way that, it flashed forward, it was a decent idea, just wasn't executed very well, and the whole shit with the Amazon and her mom, that was executed poorly, and I don't know if Ezekiel Sims was really the best villain, this guy in the black suit here, I don't really love it, but this particular shot, if you guys have seen the movie, I'm going to brief spoilers, not really, but kind of. There's two shots that I actually thought were good shots in the movie. First one, they're in the diner and she's in the cab and she runs through the diner and she hits him and he goes flying over the counter or whatever, and she hits him with a car and you're like, damn, that was a hard hit. And then when she gets the girls in the car and she backs up out of the diner and she kind of tail whips the car, and the glass from that she smashes through the glass from the windows are on the car, and when she turns around the glass goes flying. I was like, that was a decent shot, but then the rest of it was kind of ass. The whole chase or action driving sequences were terrible, but that one shot was cool. And then later in the movie, because she hit him that first time with the car, we see him again. He's standing on the hood of the car looking at the girls, and Adam Scott's character, which is Ben Parker, so he's standing on the hood, which is this shot. He's standing looking down at him, and that Calvin Klein ad in the background where we see her in an ambulance as she's driving. I'm like, What's she gonna do? Hit him again? I was like, she already hit him with a car once. Maybe she just wants to hit him again. And she comes flying out of the building through the Calvin Klein ad and fucking in the ambulance. And he jumps and she hits him with the ambulance and he goes flying and then she lands perfectly, turns around. I was like, that ambulance should be destroyed. But okay, they're still driving on it. You know, there were certain things that, you know, the final battle where she moves herself into 3 locations sucks. There's like this one part where it pans in on her face. She goes, your destiny wasn't going to be those girls. It was me. And it like tightens in on her face and I was like, oh, like there was quite a few parts, like just from the line reads or the way that Dakota Johnson said something, we turned and looked at each other and just was like, oh, God, this is awful. I can't stand it. With that being said, I gave this movie 1 star, and that might be low, but I've given other movies 2 stars or 3 stars, and 1 out of 5 stars. That's still a 2-star movie, right? Like, it could have been even less, and I still could make it a half star and make it a 1, but like, I gave it 1 star, and most of that's because I think Sydney Sweeney's hot, and Isabel Merced and Celeste O'Connor really fucking were trying harder than everyone else on screen. At least that's what it showed like. And you know, I'm at least as excited to see Isabella Merced as Hawk Girl, and then in The Last of Us Season 2. And you know, I hope these girls have a brighter future. I just don't know if Madam Web 2 will ever be a thing, but who knows? Sony might be like, oh, this is great, people love it, like, and people clearly do not. But that, yeah, it is what it is. You know, I wanted to give it a higher score, but I was like, I've given stuff, you know, two out of 5 stars, and I actually enjoyed that movie. I just didn't think it was that great, or I didn't think it was for me. So, you know, for this movie, as a movie that, like, I'm a fan, I bought the shirt, you know, like, I bought the shirt for the stupid my mother was in the Amazon researching spiders when she died, you know, and then they cut that line out of the movie because people were memeing it, and it's like, but if they left it in the movie, people probably would have cheered for that part. So I don't know, Sony just doesn't know what they're doing, and it scares me every time. But it is what it is, I guess. Stay tuned for the next movie review. We'll be talking about another rom-com from 2005, and stay tuned, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.